For more on this, we can bring in France 24's correspondent in Tokyo, Gavin Blair. Now, Gavin, exit polls are showing that the ruling majority is likely to fall short. How significant are these results, and what do they mean for the ruling coalition?
It should be said we are still waiting for the final results, and this election has been quite unpredictable, but it does look like they are going to lose their majority at this stage. The latest we have is they have 21 seats of the 125 available, and the opposition parties have 57. So it is looking dire for them. Although it's still technically possible they could hang on to their majority. In terms of the implications, this almost certainly means the end for PM Ishiba. As you mentioned, he lost his majority in the lower house, and that was a snap election that he called last year. So 2 election losses in the row, added to the fact that he's not particularly popular within his own party. This almost certainly means the end for him. In terms of the party, the LDP may now have to go looking for new coalition partners to shore up the government.
Now, we heard that voters were a bit upset about the state of the economy, but surely it was more than that. What else were they upset about?
The economy was the big one. Food prices, rice prices in particular, have doubled over the last year. As you mentioned, wages haven't kept up with that, not even close. But for the first time in an election here, the immigration, the foreign population of Japan has become a major issue. It is, of course, linked to the economic issues. These are people who are struggling financially, and at times such as this, scapegoats tend to emerge. The fact is that most people in Japan understand that Japan needs more foreign workers. There's a dire shortage of labour in nearly every sector. However, they have tapped into frustrations here, talking about foreigners getting welfare, foreign crime. Even though the actual numbers are low, this has resonated with a disillusioned and frustrated electorate.
Now, that sort of, I think, plays into the rise of this populist party that we've been hearing about, Sanseido. What is the appeal there for voters?
So, I mean, it really is that they're tapping into that frustration. They've run on a Japanese first slogan and platform. They've borrowed heavily from similar parties in Europe and the MAGA movement in the States. They've used social media very effectively. There is a large chunk of the electorate here that feels disaffected, that feels like it has been ignored by both the government and the major opposition parties. And they're tapping into that. I would say that there's probably a chunk of the electorate that doesn't understand all of their policies. They're calling for a new constitution, which is quite alarming in content, but that's not really being looked into. They're saying to people, we will look after you, we will care about you and not the foreigners, and that's resonating.
Now, we just got some news in here. The Japanese Prime Minister did not answer whether or not he would resign when asked. And he's also got to negotiate trade deal with the United States, that tariff deadline coming up on August 1st. So all of this got to be putting quite a lot of pressure on him. What do we see happening?
Indeed, his chief negotiator has said the results of the election will make no difference. The truth is that Japan's in a weak position in those negotiations to start with. It has very few cards to play against the US. It's its biggest market. It's its military protector. Anytime you go into negotiations from a position of weakness, and this is going to be a very weakened government, that can never be a plus. So, and the electorate realizes that as well, that they are arguing from a weak position, and this is only going to weaken them further.
Gavin, thank you so much for keeping us updated. That's France 24's correspondent in Tokyo.